mynews.studio.
As the sun came up, delegates from close to 200 countries left COP28, holding an agreement that could, in theory, signal the end of the fossil fuel era. But the question is, can what's written on paper actually shift how the world produces and uses energy?
Today is November 26th, 2025. Let's get into it. COP28 just wrapped up, and nearly 200 nations have, for the first time, agreed to start moving away from fossil fuels. Is this the point where we finally see countries acting together on climate?
That's exactly the big question. The agreement aims for net zero emissions by 2050, but what's really new is the shared commitment to phase out fossil fuels. It's not legally binding, so it's more about setting expectations for every country involved.
If there's no legal backing, how is this any different from previous climate summits?
It comes down to the scope and the level of detail. This time, every country has to submit updated, economy-wide climate plans. These are called NDCs, or Nationally Determined Contributions, by 2025, and those plans need to be transparent, measurable, and in line with the 1.5-degree target.
But how will we actually know if countries are following through?
Accountability comes through a transparency framework. Countries are required to report their progress regularly. The UNFCCC has set up standardized tools for this, and at future COP meetings, like COP29 and COP30, there will be global reviews where each country's progress is made public.
So basically, it's peer pressure and public scrutiny instead of courts or penalties.
That's right. There's no international climate enforcement agency. Pressure comes through diplomacy and reputation. If a country falls behind, it risks criticism and could even face financial consequences, like losing access to climate-related funding or investment.
Finance is a big piece. The agreement also created a loss and damage fund. What does that actually mean for countries most affected by climate disasters?
The Loss and Damage Fund is meant to support countries already dealing with climate impacts, things like floods, droughts, rising sea levels. It's targeted at the most vulnerable, so the poorest and hardest-hit nations get priority.
How is this fund managed? And is this actually new money or just money moved from other climate commitments?
Right now, the World Bank is acting as an interim trustee. Both donor and recipient countries have input on how the fund operates. The main idea is to make support direct and easy to access, so recovery and adaptation efforts can be led locally.
But the World Bank isn't the long-term solution, is it?
No, after 4 years, the plan is to shift to a more independent setup. The fund's guidelines are designed to focus on speed and local needs, not on creating extra bureaucracy.
Stepping back, what's the biggest hurdle for actually moving away from fossil fuels, especially for countries still developing their economies?
The central issue is how to cut emissions while still supporting economic growth. Developing countries often rely on fossil fuels because they're the cheapest energy source. Solutions include phasing out subsidies, introducing carbon pricing, and making renewables financially attractive.
Those all sound like big investments. Where does the funding actually come from?
Wealthier countries are expected to deliver on their climate finance commitments through mechanisms like the Green Climate Fund, the New Loss and Damage Fund, and support for technology transfer. But there's an issue with credibility. Past commitments haven't always been honored.
So if some countries don't trust that support will come, how do you get them to sign on?
The agreement includes technical assistance, capacity building, and programs for a just transition, helping shift workers and industries from fossil fuels without leaving people behind.
And how quickly can renewables actually scale up to meet the new demand?
More than 60 countries have pledged to triple renewable energy capacity by 2030. That involves ramping up solar and wind, upgrading grids, and finding solutions for storage and reliability.
Is there a shared sense across countries that this needs to happen urgently?
The science is clear and public pressure is growing, but political will still varies. Some countries remain deeply invested in oil, gas, or coal.
So is this agreement really a turning point for global energy and economic policy, Or is it another promise that won't stick?
It's an important step forward, but everything depends on what happens next, how governments, industries, and people follow through. The framework is there, but it's action that will count.
Thanks for breaking this down. The world has made a promise. Now it's about keeping it.
That's the story. Nearly 200 countries, one agreement, and a possible new chapter for the planet.
Thank you for listening. This episode was powered by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.